Welcome back to How Should I Introduce You? I am Silas Grant, and we have another installment with two great people. We already got started talking before we hit record, so I had to halt us real quick and get us on here so we could get going, man. But I've got Bill Walker and Jeremy Carey here, man. Two great friends of mine that I've known for well over 2 decades each, and I'm thankful to have the both of them here. And I'm thankful that I know we'll have a really good conversation, man. So what I like to do with each installment is I like to have each guest send me over a brief bio. And, that is my way of making sure that I'm introducing them the way they want to be introduced. So I will start with Bill. Bill Walker.
Hey, good morning. How you feeling? I'm here, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
Bill said,
outstanding orator.
Yeah.
Outstanding orator,
Bill sent me over a bio that I'm going to read real quick. Bill Walker, the legendary trainer, instructor, and motivational conductor, heard the calling of teaching the art of strength and fitness years after his own journey with fitness and battle through tremendous adversity. In 2008, Bill was stricken with a cancerous tumor that eventually led to the partial amputation of his right foot in September of that year after several previous surgeries. Severely overweight, he started working out on Wednesday, March 31st, 2010. Starting at about 309 pounds, Bill lost 122 pounds in 2 years and 2.5 months through disciplined strength training and diet, and through friendships he had built along his path. In 2015, Bill became certified through NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and started working as a coach with DCPS. He has taught youth, faculty, and DCPS alumni in the art of strength. He's also worked with DCPS athletes at Ballou High School. In 2016, Bill became a health and fitness writer at Champagne in the Locker Room, which is widely known as CITLR. Bill has also worked with Black Girls Lift, the mighty and powerful organization to uplift Black women and other women of color, promoting strength and health. Bill has also appeared on Fox 5 to spread the word about fitness and determination, using his life as a cancer survivor and amputee to show the world that it is possible to overcome obstacles. Currently, throughout the midst of the apocalyptic pandemic, Bill Walker still trains in person, sometimes virtually, and is currently studying as a massage practitioner. So welcome, Bill Walker, to How Should I Introduce You?
Good morning. That don't sound amazing. Just hearing it, right? Golly, man. Oh, man. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
Nah, man, I'm glad to have you on here, man. And next up is my man. Listen, so sometimes I have guests that I don't typically call by their real name. So y'all got to, work with me as I try to adjust to this, man, in this situation. Jeremy Carey, who I call Jay, right? I've been calling him Jay for like 20 years, right? This is my first time, like, outside of introducing him when I'm with him in public, saying this. So he's a self-taught farmer, also known as Veggie Promo, previously J Promo. We'll talk about all of that in a minute, too. But he aims to inspire his community through urban farming and fellowship. Jeremy educated himself watching YouTube videos and studying various farmers around the world. Through trial and error, he implemented what he learned in his backyard farm, as well as several shared plot communities across the metropolitan area. Jeremy studied culinary arts and uses his homegrown produce to make unique, healthy recipes enjoyed by friends and family. Jeremy's gardening hobby and culinary expertise has become a passion and a lifelong mission where he wants to make delicious and organic food accessible to everyone, everywhere. He is especially interested in developing a strong focus on youth and farming educational programs to regulate healthy habits and arm communities with survival skills through agriculture. So Jay, man, thank you for being here. I really, really appreciate you being here.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure, brother.
Yeah. So I want to start, man. I was thinking about the both of you as we prepare for this installment. And Jay, I thought about this, and it was never more crystal clear than like last night and this morning. You worked at PA Palace, right? And for those who are not from DC that are watching, PA Palace was the central place for the distribution of go-go tapes. Before CDs, before streaming, at the time when go-go was the biggest cultural pillar in DC, Palace was the central place where you had to go buy those tapes and CDs and things like that. And Prince George's Plaza, which is a mall in Maryland, was probably the largest location as far as volume of people coming in and buying the tapes, right? So here you are working in PA Palace, selling tapes, and then you also went on to work at Downtown Locker Room in that same mall, which was also like a central place for like culture. And I was thinking about it. I was like, man, there are very few people that have been employed in places that have seen DC culture at its core like you have, right? And it was just, I never thought about that. Like, you saw everybody come in, buy shoes and buy tapes. Those shoes and tapes which shaped who we are today from way back 20, 25 years ago. So I just wanted to start there. Like, have you ever processed that yourself? And if so, like, tell us a little bit about that experience.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. And it was up against the wall.
My fault. Yeah.
No. Yeah, you good. Shout out to my brother Sneaker Man Dang. That's down line Wale and them. That's downtown locker room. But no, yeah, I mean, hey bro, like at least 6 to 7 times a day, I gotta talk. Like it's mostly when I do my breathing exercises. It's just like kind of just, you know, not atoning myself, but just kind of warning myself. You know what I mean? I laugh. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of the times when people doing the breathing exercise, it's more of a relaxation thing. But for me, the first thing coming to my mind is like, damn, fool, you really is a farmer. In that vernacular, just like that, like, damn, fool, like, you really is a farmer. Like, I mean, it honestly, man, completely trips me out, man, my whole journey, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we'll obviously, you know, we'll speak more to it during this and stuff like that. But yeah, nah, man, that joke trips me out, man, because for me, I mean, you know, I'm still just me, bro. Like, you know, at the end of the day, man, doing everything I've done, being a part of everything that I've been a part of, I mean, you know, you see it. And then obviously, as we're getting to be older guys now, you kind of look back and you reflect on things and things like that, you know what I mean? And just, you know, with the go-go thing. I mean, you know, when all of the, you know, Mochella and the Dome UDC and all that stuff kind of came up last year, you know, you really see like, wow, man, like things are changing. You know what I mean? And then like, you know, to be in a part of one of those pillar type places like PA Palace and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Where, you know, like I said, that's where me and you met. We 18, 19 years old type, you know what I mean? So, you know, it definitely was very, very impactful. And it's the kind of thing where those were the first kind of memories of becoming an adult or kind of transitioning from adolescence to adult. And you'll never forget that stuff. You know what I mean? And that stuff that's going to kind of always be in you and just ingrained in you and just built you as a person. So, man, yeah, definitely, man. I always look back on it like, wow, man. Like, I used to sell 1983 Safari Club Rare Essence tapes, and now I'm selling Esame Arugula. Like, the Jonas is crazy to me, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an awesome time, man. And, you know, I know you probably witnessed a lot during that period and come across so many people, man. And to see where we all are today and still thriving, man, it's a blessing because so many people, you know, did not make it out of that period of time.
Man.
To be in this period, man, it's like a real great thing. Bill, you and I, we go back to church, right? We in church many years ago. And one of the things that I remember because you and I knew each other, but we had never really like engaged in like long conversation. Right. But then as we became adults, we started talking. And you were one of the first people that I had a chance to talk to who was really into like self-development, reading books that were based around self-development, books that were supposed to increase and assist you with confidence and things of that nature. And it opened my mind to a whole different world, man. So I just want to first publicly thank you, and I appreciate
that
our conversations around that, which have, you know, now helped me and actually thrusted me into this space because the purpose of this is development of people, at least in my tribe and beyond. But what I wanted to ask is like, how did you get into that space? How did you get exposed to it? And talk a bit about how it shaped you through all the trials and all the success that you've had.
Well, you know, I grew up on like fiction, right? Comics and stuff. So in my mind, it was always nothing that the human being could not do, even if you weren't doing it now. I would see like certain successful people in like various endeavors, and I never really had no jealousy to those people. It was just seeing people who had become great despite other circumstances. And most of the stuff I read growing up was people who were living through wild circumstances. So I want to say I first started really reading books for myself. I was like 19 years old. And then certain books, it was everything from Rich Dad, Poor Dad to crime stuff, right? So anything. And then I just went to other books and just talking to other people, finding out you can like find certain stuff online. But I want to say what really did it is I know my man Brendan put me on to Dan Kennedy, right? So just a whole different mindset of thought. And if you go to Dan Kennedy, you're kind of like be exposed to everything, because Dan Kennedy puts all his books and other people's books in his book. So it put me on to a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. And Psycho-Cybernetics is really all about how you see yourself, right? We go through certain experiences as a child that kind of shapes us. My thing has been, I've never liked to be pigeonholed. I've never liked to be told who I am. I've never liked to be cast to the side. My thing has always been, I want to decide for myself who I am. So all my life has been like the pursuit of that. So I would like try to read things where people would change their life through like wild circumstances, right? And it helped me indirectly because even when I got in shape, right, I was using the principle of psycho-cybernetics early on. Because when I was a kid, I always saw myself in like the back, you know, way back here as this fit, strong dude. So when I actually started working out, it wasn't hard doing it. It was just a matter of time. But I've always liked reading books just because you get to get someone else's like wisdom without having to go through what they went through. Like a lot of wisdom is built off pain, suffering. Some people had to like, you know, suffer for that. Nothing is really free. Nothing is really, as a brother told me, nothing is a free game, it's fee game, because it's going to cost you to use it and apply it, right? So books have always been just another world where you can open it. It's kind of like you could experience it yourself, and that could be like a car, right? But you could take the wisdom of 1,000 people and you use it via a spaceship. So also I want to say sales, being in sales put me on a certain thing, because then you had to deal with stuff like frustration and failure. You know, before I did fitness, I did like mortgages and stuff, and you get to know a lot, right? So I looked at other books with people who like, one book in particular that a good bro, shout out to Lenny, he told me about this book. It was a book called Frank Betcher, How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success. And if you read that book, Frank was a student of Dale Carnegie, who wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People. So it's kind of like the same book, but for sales. It was real relatable because it talked about a person who wasn't good in baseball at first. Not because he wasn't good, but because he didn't know. A lot of my failure probably just come from not knowing, not just not being able to, but a lot of us don't know how to do certain things, right? So in this book, he wasn't good at baseball. And the dude told him, man, you have no energy, you have no enthusiasm. So his next baseball team he played for, he brought all the enthusiasm in the world and doubled his income. And he used that same enthusiasm for sales, right? So just that one book just showed me like, wow, like someone's wisdom can really affect you. And it's to the point like you've learned so much, you kind of just even forget how you even got there, right? Like now, as I say, psycho-cybernetics, well, I've used it, but I haven't used it to its like full potential to me. Because there's people in cybernetics who are doing some like amazing things. Not to say I haven't, but and also like in that book, as a trainer, I hope I'm not rambling, I use that same book, same principles to show people how great they are, right? I'm real big on uplifting people. And in those books I read, it's about people being uplifted, right? And psycho-cybernetics is all about changing your like mind view, not just through like willpower, but like through logic and reasoning. And it might sound like a rambling, but it's going to make sense. Like, say you're in the store and your problem food is like bread, right? In the book, it dealt with someone who was addicted to cigarettes. And at one point, he just used his mind. He's like, why in the world am I a grown man and I'm like being controlled by something that's like, not sentient? And he was angry and threw it down immediately. It's been times where I may have been about to buy some like junk food and I'm like, yo, you trying to cut, like, how dare you? Like, isn't your body not like the temple, right? So when you really like put that reasoning behind it, you kind of stop. So the wisdom of books has been just so great. And that can come from the Bible, it can come from a comic, it can come from personal development. Like I look at everything as personal development, everything. I could watch a movie and like, oh wow, you might learn like a secret of the universe. So it really just comes from having an open mind to take in and learn, right? And just take experiences not just as face value, but like as wisdom.
Yeah. I'm reading this book, right? It's called Win Bigly by Scott Adams, right? So I made a commitment to read a book a week, and I missed last week, so I'm trying to make it.
You're doing amazing. Yeah.
But the book, Scott Adams was one of the people who first predicted that Donald Trump would win the election in 2016, right?
Yeah.
But the book is about persuasion. And one of the things that he talks about in the book is that none of us are seeing reality. Like, we're all being persuaded by the filters that we live in, right? So what you said that was really interesting was that you had to decide for yourself who you were.
Yeah.
And how before you became fit, you knew you could become fit. And that was a big reason why you ended up becoming fit, because you made the decision beforehand. So I'm just curious from the both of you, like, how important is that to decide who you're going to be? Because one thing I heard recently from, and I think it was one of the books that I read, so many at this point, but you don't find your purpose, you decide what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You said that was like a confirmation of what I had read before being, true. So for the both of you, when was it that you decided you were going to be who you are, and how important was that decision before you even became who you are?
Jay, you can go ahead first.
Well, I mean, go ahead, Bill. You can get it.
Okay. So like, it was never just one moment, because I had one moment where I decided like this year and also last year. But like even before I was a trainer, right, I had to decide who I was without nothing, right? A lot of people, you're able to make an assessment of who you are based on your level of success. But when I had my surgery, like, all that was taken away. All the little money I had was taken away. My health was taken away. Of course, being amputated, my foot was gone, right? So you have to decide, a lot of times men, we like place value on ourselves based on what we have instead of like based on what's up here, right? So a lot of times I had to ask myself, like, who am I, right? Especially this year. A good brother of mine reiterated, he called me one day, I was telling him I was going through some mental stuff, right? And he was like, who are you, right? And really, a lot of people don't know who they are, right? So you really have to decide for yourself, like, who is it that you want to be, and what does it take to be that person, right? And as a career side, as a trainer, I decided I knew I had to be a trainer. Some of it just came from frustration, because I had other jobs, and they all told me no. Like, every job. Like, at one point when I was sending resumes, I started counting up to 700, right? So at 700, I was like, I'm not counting no more. And then I think I was talking to you at one point, and you and a few other people told me I should be a trainer. When I first heard that, I wasn't sure, because I wasn't sure I could really tell people like, what to do on that level. But the more you see it and the more you become good at it, it's kind of like certain things find you. Your gifts, I think Andre Taylor said this too, like, it may be kind of biblically related. Like, your gifts will find you. What you're good at naturally, or what you acquire, it's going to find a way. It's going to hit you in the head. It's going to knock on your door various times. And thankfully, me being a trainer has helped like so many people, because it's took the focus not just on beyond like health. They see me And I may not tell them at first, unless, you know, I wear shorts or something, or you see how I walk, then I tell them what happened. And they just become like, wow, right? Like I was at massage school this week and I had to take off my shoe. So I had to take off my shoe and lay on the table. And the woman was just like, you know, you could tell she was just like, wow, I'm proud of you for just being here, right? So it's going to be a few things, right? It may be a daily thing, but it's something that you're going to have to do. Like, ask yourself, like every day I wake up and ask myself, like, yo, how can I be better? How can I be like more dominant, more stronger, more like powerful, better, wiser? Just because I'm just big on self-assessment. For the average person, it's going to be you may have an event, it may be a traumatizing event, it may be a good thing, but it's something that you should just ask yourself a lot, because if you don't ask yourself, man, it's going to find you in some shape or form. Like something's going to happen. You're going to have an event that's going to ask you, like, to define yourself. Who are you? You have to find that for yourself. Like it may be biblically. Say, yo, who am I, right? It may be family oriented. Anything. I don't want to ramble, so go ahead. I can ramble all day on nonsense, right? So go ahead. Jay, you go ahead if you want.
Yeah, for me, man, it's crazy, man. It sounded like I was just kind of looking at myself talking, man. Like, same like Bill was speaking to, man. Like it on this walk, I'll speak to kind of how I got there, but on this walk, man, I notice every day and every moment. Like for me, it's about service. Like at the end of the day, I'm dedicating my life, my passion, my work, everything, what I'm instilling in my kids, any brother and sister I get the opportunity to fellowship with. I mean, everything, like it's all about service and giving. You know what I mean? Like I've kind of, and it took me to kind of go on this walk and on this journey to really understand that. But kind of like when I was speaking to Bill, my mom's an oncology nurse, so fighting cancer has kind of always been the family hustle. I had the opportunity to work at Sibley Hospital on a inpatient oncology unit. And for me to see that every day, go in, working 12-hour shifts, 18-hour shifts, that kind of thing, where I'm just surrounded by, let people, or, let the misconceptions kind of go about it. Like, people on the lowest spectrum of to all the way up to the highest spectrum, people that are, living in the neighborhood and on the system and that kind of thing, all the way up to the bourgeois decision makers of the country. They all get humbled and they all get stripped down when they get this disease, man. And it's it's about uplifting them. You know what I mean? So for me, that kind of was the, I guess, for the not hip, that was my cover crop. So that was me kind of amending my soil, getting myself prepared for this journey that, the universe put me on. And for me, man, it was weird. I had the opportunity. I was living in Richmond, and, I just had the opportunity to just start growing vegetables. And my ex-girlfriend at the time, she was like, yo, let's grow some vegetables. I was like, all right, cool. Never grown anything, never done anything like outside of, elementary school. You get the little milk carton and you put the pea in the joint, and that was my extent of growing, you know what I mean? But the more and more I kind of got into it, and just, ad nauseum, watching videos on YouTube, just educating myself and things like that, it just kind of all sparked into this. And, not to be super, super long-winded about it, the more and more that I get into this, and the more and more that I become the person that, God and the universe has me to become, I've always been destined to be great. You know what I mean? And I know that, you know what I'm saying? It's a humbling feeling. It's no ego behind it at all. But for me to just be that inspiration for folks, you know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily have to become a farmer, just grow something. You know what I mean? Throw some flowers down, do something, like that. But for me, man, it's a season thing. Like, I mean, I'm a farmer, so I'm all about seasons. My life is about seasons and variables and different things like that. So I understand that, even more so now, that really builds you up as a person, and it builds you up to who you are. You know what I mean? Kind of like, to piggyback off what Bill was saying, it's about the experiences and the things that you go through, or the things that you see others go through, where you look like, all right, I don't want to make that misstep, or I don't want to make that, misstep, or, what have you. You kind of take a look at it, and you just see variables in other people's lives, and you get it into your process. That's what farmers do. They look at variables, they look at different environmental things, or where you get your seed, just different things like that. And there's so many different variables. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm the hood biologist. I'm the hood scientist. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. So.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because both of you, being in fitness and being in farming, it takes patience. It takes patience to grow a crop. It takes patience to your clients growing their muscles. And there are a lot of people that you all probably encounter that want to quit short of the total fruition of what was meant to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then both of you have also experienced personal things that have tried your patience. So for the both of you, just talk a bit about the importance of patience and seeing things through. Bill, you mentioned that you knew it was going to happen. It was just going to take time, but it's hard convincing other people of that. So talk about patience, the importance of it, and how difficult it is to share that with other people.
Yeah, patience. Like, ironically, like, Jay's a farmer. So this whole thing, we are both in the patience industry, right?
Man.
Like,
say it again, Bill. Say it again.
We are in, if you can see this, if you just tuned in, we are all in the patience industry. Patience. Like, all of us deal with patience on some level. But patience is also great because it's something that can't be cheated, right? Time and the work can't be cheated. So it's kind of like, in the patience, it's great because as you're moving forward, you have character development, right? You can learn things that you would not have learned had you just woke up and instantly got it today, right? One of the biggest questions and misconceptions people have is, I just want to work on my stomach. Well, you can't. It's not possible to just work on your stomach. Because if you did, say you just worked on your stomach and you still got that big old, that fat back arm, you're going to have that small stomach with that fat back, that, that ham hock arm. So it's just like, with your stomach, in case anybody's watching, is the last thing to go, right? But I tell people to take the focus off one thing and put it on another. If you're trying to, I just say losing weight and patience. Focus on being athletically better. Focus on being stronger. Do what we call a reverse engineering. If you take the focus just off the aesthetic goal and put it on a performance goal, it'll end up better. And it'll be something that you actually enjoy. Otherwise, you'll be running around chasing your tail, going after a look or something that may not be even genetically for you, right? But if you enjoy the activity, if you enjoy the work, like sometimes maybe while farming, Jay may just enjoy digging the hole, the toil, right? Putting the stuff in there. You got to get to the point where you got to like the work. If you can find a way to like the work or find something about liking the work, you will succeed. Plus, with patience, you got to learn. This is not to say you can't get some things quick. You can, but nothing is going to be overnight. You have to stumble. You have to hit your head. Even while moving at a fast pace, you still have to have some type of patience. And if you don't have patience in anything, it's not going to work. Part of what I did in fitness was working with kids. I work with middle school kids. Middle school kids, around here, a lot of them can be kind of wild, right? And you got to be patient to play. If they don't know you, they're going to test you, right? So dealing with these kids, you got to be like, okay. You might tell them something over and over and over and over and over and over with exercise. Really, training kids is not that different than training adults. Adults are just taller, right? So being able to be with them when they fall, when they make a mistake, and let them know that the mistakes that they're going to make is a part of the process. So if you know how to wait, you'll be fine. I do ramble.
Yeah, and for me, man, it's just kind of like what Bill was saying. Everything about what I do is I'm not in control of it at all. When I'm growing on an outdoor context, it's God and the universe. You know what I mean? And it's not a versus thing. At the end of the day, I always kind of like to share with people something that was instilled in me very early on. At the end of the day, I'm a steward of the earth. You know what I mean? So it's a certain type of favor and a certain type of blessing that comes with that. And again, it's very, you know, like I said, it's very humbling. And very early on, I had the opportunity to just really get it instilled in me, like, you got to remove the ego, period. Because at the end of the day, like, there's people who farm who are multi-billionaires, millionaires, you know, and for me, man, it really does sound really crazy to a lot of people, but money's not really tangible to me anymore. It's a necessary evil, it's a tool, but it's not anything that I really covet like I used to, you know what I mean? Because it's a bigger picture thing, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I have the opportunity to be able to source food. There's nothing on earth, period, that's living. There's no living organism on earth that can survive without eating. I've had the opportunity to get into that. That is my business, that's my passion, that's my calling, that's everything. So it's a divine kind of thing. It's nature, you know what I mean? And it's, at the end of the day, you know, no matter what your circumstance is, you have to eat.
Yeah.
You know, you have to eat. So, I mean, you know, just getting into that process and just really seeing the patience that it takes. Like, I can turn, you know, scrap food and, you know, old lawn clippings and a tree that's fell down. I could turn that into, you know, nutrient dense and rich compost to be able that I can sell to somebody. Or at the end of the day, it's just you know, all of those trash kind of things, you know, that you have the opportunity to monetize. But again, like I said, that's kind of just coming back to, you know, as I was saying, like, people always ask me, like, can you make money doing this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how many people need to eat? That's most of the time, that's my answer. Right. Can I make money off? How many people you know that need to eat? Well, that's my customer. So for me, man, it's the patience. It's the patience. It's just seeing the process. It's, you know, farmers and growers and everybody. You drop seed, you want to go lay down and then wake up in the morning and you got a whole full bush full of fruit and, or, you know, vegetables or what have you. But it's just that patience. So like I said, that kind of all again plays back into that season conversation. So
yeah, it's interesting that you brought up money, because I look at blogs about people who are minimalists, and I've seen questions posed online, and I'm gonna ask you guys, I don't know the answer to it. You may not have the answer right here, but I just want to put it out there. Based on what you expect your life expectancy to be, if you've calculated that or not, and based on, you know, what you would need to survive, like, how much more money would you need to make in life? Like, have you thought about a dollar amount? Because you've talked about, you know, not being a slave to making money, not being a slave and allowing that money to be a tool for you and you not being a tool for the money. But I'm trying to put my mind around that for me personally. Like, how much more money would I need if I were to live another 50 years, for example? Like, what would be my average desired monthly income, weekly income, yearly income? Like, do you think about that when you remove yourself from being a slave to money?
For me, well, go ahead, Bill.
But no, you're quite, go ahead. I got to think about it a little bit.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, for me, man, to be honest with you, like, there's not a set amount of money, because at the end of the day, my lifestyle is so, it's not, I mean, it's regimented, but it's not really regimented. Like, I tell people all the time, since the COVID thing hit, I've been to the grocery store twice. For me, I've eliminated so many factors of like, you know, more so in the tangible monetary world. Like, it's almost foreign. It's becoming the point to me where it's become foreign. So I'm like, well, why do I need to go to the grocery store? I grow food. People always assume that I'm a vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian at all. I've tried to do it, and that's cool, and it's fine, and it's all good. You know what I mean? I'm not a scientist. I'm not a biologist, but I know farmers that are 80 years old that are, you know, have lived off the land and eaten off the land and eaten organically the majority of their lives, and they're thriving. So, you know, it's a trade. at the end of the day, you know, my lifestyle and everything is about bartering or a trade. If I grow a certain crop that you don't grow, well, then we can swap it out. You know, at the end of the day, at the end of the farmer's market, you got that left, I got this left, this. I got a coffee guy, I got a mushroom guy, I got, you know, sweets. I mean, any and everything is tradable. So, you know, I'll have a little bit of extra microgreens. Well, I can swap it out for a pound of, you know, ground hamburger that's grass-fed and free range and zero chemicals and USDA certified organic. And people are like, that's crazy, man. Like, I mean, you know, and it's interesting to me because, you know, like I said, it's one thing that's tangible, that's a necessity that you can trade for another. Why do I need to make an extra X amount of dollars when I'm already squared away? You know what I mean? Basic survival is about thriving and surviving and, you know, that kind of thing. So once you kind of strip down a lot of the stuff that's been put in place or for us and our families and our elders to think that you have to do or you need to do, it's become foreign. So for me, it's very, very challenging. I mean, it's an inspirational challenge. Like, oh, all right, that's cool. You don't know that that ketchup comes from tomatoes? All right, cool, no problem. Watch this. Give me a couple of months with you. Give me a summertime with you. And now I'm teaching you how to grow purple ketchup because you got purple tomatoes. And then now you got the best of the best. And that honestly is something that, you know, again, like I said, is very, very empowering for me to keep going. You know what I mean? You know, you get brothers and sisters from the neighborhood, you know, when I've had the opportunity to work in school programs and things like that. And it's the natural competition that comes into play. You know what I mean? The neighborhood teaches us skills, and those skills can be transferred, detoxed, get all the ills out of it. And you got that same spirit. You got young brothers that, you know, ripping and running in the neighborhood, in the streets and that kind of thing. And then now they can turn around and be inspired like, oh, I don't got to do the illegal stuff no more. You know, and you know, everybody wants to be the plug. I tell people all the time, I am the plug. I don't have to go see nobody to get my product. I produce it all. It takes that patience that we were talking about before. But at the end of the day, you line that up and it's self-sustaining. And you look around like, man, I don't even really have to spend money. So I save more money. You know what I mean? I have the opportunity to save more money than I have to spend to be able to survive off just doing something I'm passionate about. To me, that's like, oh, all right, that's just the way you're supposed to do it. So
you said the question is how much is enough, right? Ultimately, I think that varies from person to person because one person may not need that much. Another person may feel like they want to. I guess for me, I want to be able to have experiences in life, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So for me, I'm dealing with the point of I lost a lot of time, right? So surgery and recovery and dealing with the after effects of that, a lot of stuff was taken at the time that I couldn't do. So now money to me is a vehicle to help get from point A to point B. I think it's just what you have to remember about money is that it's a servant and not a master, right?
Yeah.
Put that money above like principle, then no amount of money, nothing will ever be enough, right? Nothing, right? However, if you look at it from the fact that I love what I'm doing, then you'll always have enough, in my opinion.
For sure.
I used to actually, when I used to sell like insurance and mortgages, I would like, you know, just for fun, I'd be at my other jobs, like calculating how much money I would need for this. But do I want to make a lot? I want to make it abundantly a lot. Well, because, you know, not just for myself and to live, but, you know, especially what's going on right now, but we need money to help our people out of certain circumstances. Like we're going to need money to help our people learn fitness and health on a mass scale. We're going to need money to help our people do what Jay does to the point where everyone is aware of farming, right? So money is fantastic. It just depends on like what you want to do with it and like what is your goal for money. Is your goal to just lay around, you know, throw on the couch? That's cool if that's what you like, you know, whatever. But for me, it's a tool. I don't really have a set amount. I have an amount that I want to make as a trainer, right? As a trainer and, you know, soon to be massage therapist. But like I said, for me, it is currency to do certain things. Like I want to be able to talk to somebody today and like they went walking on a volcano, right? And I was like, wow, no, I can't hike yet until I get my new brace. So for me, it would take money to have that experience of walking on a volcano. I just use that as an example. So, so it depends on that person. Some people may not need that much, right? But some people may need a lot. So depending on what you want to do with your life.
Yeah. So as we talk about the remainder of our lives, obviously right now we're fighting against this pandemic and things have shifted like tremendously. It's been like a, you know, a catastrophic period. And for some of us, we're walking around healthy, and there are other people that we know who, you know, who have family members who've died from COVID and so many other, you know, factors that have really put a damper on 2020 to some degree. And then with the election that's coming up, I thought about this in preparation for this installment. I've had so many people ask me about, yo, you got a gun? You got your license yet? You know, we get ready to go through this election. It might get crazy. And I think that's a good thing to be prepared for that. But the two of you being in fitness and farming, before somebody can even pull a gun out on you, you got to be fit to be able to have hand-to-hand combat with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, if the election doesn't go your way and you feel like there's a threat to your livelihood, you got to be able to eat too, right? So eating and fitness are going to probably come into play far before a gun.
That's correct.
Apocalyptic skills.
That's right.
In your bio, Jay, you talked a bit about arming communities with survival skills, and obviously, Bill, with you being in fitness, it's the same thing.
Yep.
What are some pointers or some tips or some thoughts that you guys have for people that are in this panic mode, you know, in your respective areas, like ways in which people can, you know, no shortcuts, obviously, but just thoughts about the mindset they should have around eating and fitness?
For me, man, it's kind of tripping me out a little bit because this is a season. What we're doing right now is a season. If we looked at everything that we've touched on, it's all kind of coming full circle to every question. It's funny to me, but as you look to see what's going on, for me, like I said, because you know I've had experience in the medical in the medical field, and then obviously moms, you know, being, you know, in my opinion, the greatest nurse ever in life. You know what I mean? Just an you know, a walking angel. For me, man, it's key, and I'm glad you touched on that because, you know, we know how our people are. We know how we do. When the stuff starts to get like this, it's like, well, all right, we got to tool up. Got to get the guns. Got to get the. What I tell people is this: you can have a team, a mob of 15 gangsters, war-torn, you know, soldiers, whatever you want to, however you want to, you know, split the banana. But at the end of the day, you can, if you can't eat, all right, cool. Like, you can have the biggest mob ever. It's all good, man. If they not nourished, they ain't fighting nobody. You know what I mean? Like, the protection aspect is there. I mean, I grew up in a home where we've always, you know, you have to protect your home and your family. You know what I mean? Even having the ability to, you know, have my aunt live down in the country in Virginia. I was growing up going down there, you know, seeing guns and shooting guns and doing all that since I was a kid. So for me, you know, it that's always been instilled in me. But now, kind of where I'm at now, it really opened my eyes to, like, at the end of the day, like, it's almost like on some Michael Jordan type stuff. Republicans buy Jordans too, you know what I mean? But, you know, everybody got to eat. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying. So, you know, it's understanding that vital piece for survival, that's number one. You can't put your dukes up if you don't got the energy to lift your arms. You can't pull a trigger if you don't got the energy to do it. You ain't ate in 2 weeks. Your family ain't ate in a week. And what you gonna do, man? You know.
How about you, Bill?
I would say take this time just to, you know, go out and be prepared. Don't panic. If you know anyone who is good at growing, talk to them. Arm yourself with knowledge, right? Because obviously The world's not going to end right now, right? So, yeah, so like I recently, finally, after years, you think I did it years ago, I took a handgun class, right? So am I afraid of what's going to happen? Nah, I'm just using this time to take all the skills and stuff that I wanted to do and find a ways how I can do it now. But as far as like the fear, I would say de-escalate the fear aspect of it and just say, okay, these are things I just need to do, and go find a way to do them. Like you're not gonna control. I mean, yeah, you're gonna vote for who you're gonna vote for, but if something happens, it's just gonna happen. Don't worry about it in the sense that it stops you from making moves, but take it and say, okay, so maybe I should learn how to get a gun. Go out there, find that knowledge, learn how to grow food, but also understand you're not going to be a farmer, soldier, whatever, fitness dude by November. That ain't gonna happen, right?
Right.
Because you got to think realistically, right? And I tell this to people. Let's say, as far as getting ready for if stuff goes down, we're 12% of the population, right? Let's just say 6% is healthy, not obese, right? Because I've seen books when I was reading for my exam, it just talked about the obesity epidemic. I'm like, golly, right? So in shape. Of those 6%, how many of those people know how to shoot? Let's say, all right, that's another 4% that are in shape and can, good with firearms. Then there's probably a 1% that can say, all right, we can grow food. Man, I know how to fight. I know how to shoot. I know how to do all that. So keep in mind, like, all that stuff takes time. Make it something that you want to learn, or maybe you can barter. Maybe you run into somebody like, you got a neighbor like Jay, you say, Jay, man, I don't want to say teach me how and I don't give you anything in return, but yo, Jay, I'm a group fitness instructor, or I know how to do this, I know how to do that. Find that time to like build that community of people who are good with certain things. So if something does go down, you have a village, you have a resource. Like all of us now, us three brothers, we're all good at certain things, right? No one's good at one thing. And we're in an era where I think people should understand, just how to leverage friends. Like I'm good at fitness. I'm learning. I just started learning how to shoot this year, right? Somebody's good at something else. Somebody's good at something else. So leverage friends, build. I think honestly, one of the most important skills right now is relationship building. You got to build those relationships to get there. No one's going to be good at all those things I listed. It's impossible. Maybe like 1% of all Black people. And let's just say, not only that, we'll add another 0.5%. I can build a fort or build a house. So now you got someone who can build a fort, build a house, shoot guns, in shape. I mean, unless you like West Virginia, not gonna happen.
Let me jump in real quick, right? Because that the person that represents that 1% that knows how to build a house, knows how to farm, knows how to shoot, is in shape.
Yeah.
Then they end up shaming everybody else for not knowing that.
Yes,
like nobody can learn because that person is like holding on to the information. And Bill, before we started, you and I were talking about the memes online and like nutrition cults and people shaming people.
Oh my God.
I think like if I were a part of the 1% of people who knew how to build houses, shoot guns, farm, do 25 pull-ups in one setting, how great will life be for you if everybody around you dies and you survive and you're the only one there? Like, so why not teach everybody else without being critical of them? Like, that's what really bothers me about what I see specifically now that we're in this space where everybody has an online platform. Just the shaming that we have around nutrition, fitness, protection, and being able to have these hands-on skills, man. So it's just my hope personally that we can get to a point where people don't mind teaching other people for the sake of seeing more people ready. You know what I mean? And I do have some friends who reach out to me about information that they have, and I appreciate them, but I don't know that that's the norm. I just think that what we see oftentimes is people showing off because they can do one of or two of or all of these things, man.
They're gatekeepers, a bunch of gatekeepers, and we have to like really abolish that whole gatekeeper mentality. Like shout out to my cousin. Speaking of people who do that, like my cousin, he lives in West Virginia. He built a house, do all that stuff. But the thing I noticed with him, you ask him, he'll tell you or he'll direct you how. Like we have to get to the point where like, okay, give you the perfect example. I talk a lot about bad form, right? I
Yeah.
shame quarter squatting a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Mainly because it's funny, right? It's more so funny than anything. But in that shame, there's, yeah, I'm going to show you how to do it the right way, so you can do it the right way, and you can pass it on. Like information is ultimately meant to be shared. And like you said, if everyone dies and it's just you, who's going to hold your camera while you do them 26 pull-ups? Now you want to do. Everyone's gone, right? Or maybe nobody won't be around you. Or it may be somebody who can do 27 pull-ups, is bigger than you, and can shoot better than you, it can grow better than you, who might take your stuff, really. So just being like humble in that regard. Like all this is just information. As many jokes as I make about this, I'm just some guy. It's really not that important. It's really all about like we need to brag. If you want to say brag, boast more about like helping people or lifting people up than just like hoarding it for yourself. Because like, man, it's information is meant to be shared anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, it's just the piggyback, piggyback off of what he was saying, man. For me, for me, it's all about, and that's even touching back on the money question. But this summer, and this season, my focus has been growing to give. I haven't been to market at all. I have not sold one item of vegetable, period. Not at all. Just because of the pandemic and everything like that. And, I just say, you know what, it's speaking to me in my spirit that everything that I grow, I just give it away. I mean, to the point where I'm like, look, man, come on, grab this bag of greens, grab this tomatoes. It's here. It's going to go bad. And I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. That's fine. I'll wind up turning it into seeds if it goes bad. So that's cool for me. I mean, I'm not losing either way, but it's free food here. Come take advantage of it. Any people that's struggling and, what have you, and especially for me, with the majority of my friends being in entertainment and in the nightlife and in different things like that, that's a scene that's not going on anymore. You know what I mean? And these are people that are used to being able to do whatever they want to do, go over they want to go, spend what they want to spend, buy what they want to buy food-wise and things like that. All that's done for now. You know what I mean? And I definitely want to speak on that a little bit later. But, it's really just all about, just fellowshipping. And, just like Bill was saying, leveraging those relationships. You know what I mean? And for me, I tell people all the time, of this list we got going on, I'm about to add building a house to it. And I'm going to speak to that a little later too. But I can do all that stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm telling y'all, come holler at me. Come holler at me. There's no ego with me. You're going to get a little sass, a little, joke or, break you down type, at the end of the day, if you can get past them jokes, hey man, I can teach you how to self-sustain, how to do the same thing for your family. And the beautiful part about agriculture, Black farmers represent less than 1% of the people that farm in America. Okay. Normally, or the normal with people that grow up in the rural areas and on the farms and things like that, they're trying to run away from that because it's a tough way to go when it's implemented in a conventional kind of way, like normal farming kind of way, like it's backbreaking, it's all that, so people try to run from that. And with the average age of farmers being 65 years old, everybody's talking about tech and this and that, and hey man, it's beautiful. Yeah, I appreciate the internet. I appreciate technology and all of that kind of stuff. But for me, what garnered so much respect from my mentors and a lot of people that I look up to and that I champion, they like, man, you quit your job and you went and learned how to do this analog. Like I learned how to DJ on turntables. I didn't pick up no CDJ. I didn't pick up no, app or anything like that. I got my hands in the dirt, got skin in the game, trellis and through cow shit and horse shit and this shit and all kind of stuff. And people are like, damn man, like, how do you do that? Because at the end of the day, man, it's just passion work. So it's important.
Yeah. So you talk about, later on in the discussion, but I actually want to talk about it now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Because COVID has caused everyone to at least think about transformation. And you talked about friends in the nightlife world, and they're forced to transition and transform like no other.
For sure.
I know it surely has to be a humbling experience for a lot of them. But just in your conversations with folks who are in that space, what has it been like to, walk them through transforming? Because I'm sure they're reaching out to you because they've seen you transform, right?
Right.
Get information from you. So what has it been like to help other people in those spaces at least consider transforming?
I mean, for me, man, again, like I say, I keep humble in my manifestations. You know what I'm saying? Silas, you knew me. I was a wild joker back in the day, man. You know what I mean? So like to kind of be where I am now, and just settled and, patient and all, I mean, everything that kind of comes with, my life's work. It's been pretty easy for me to be able to have them type of conversations with people, because just like, anything else, at the end of the day, we brothers, sisters, and, we folks, we family and all that kind of stuff. And for me, man, I share the message, like I said, and it kind of come back around to where I was saying before, the importance of sharing this information, because unlike any other thing, period, I can share and teach everybody everything I know, and I'm not setting myself up for any type of competition, because at the end of the day, we're getting to a place where the food system is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And the more that we're outsourcing that or looking from outside of our environments and in our neighborhoods and that kind of thing to sustain ourselves, I mean, that's insanity to me. You know what I mean? And the conversations, man, they really are just, like keeping people's spirits up. You know what I mean? Keeping people's, one up, like, just kind of, just settle down, man. This too shall pass. Like, it's the kind of thing where, it's just, and before we were on, I was speaking of natural selection. I say it all the time. Like, what we're seeing now, in my personal opinion, it's natural selection. The more that you see all of this stuff that's happening in nature with viruses and fires and floods, and I'm not even speaking to, the police violence and all of that. I mean, we grew up in DC. That's nothing new to us. So we grew up in the area. So that's nothing new to us. We know probably 10, 15 people, 20 people that have been killed by police officers. So it's something that we've always dealt with. But like I said, just to, coming back with the conversations with the homies, is just like, look, man, just do it. You got time. You got idle time. All of these years that you've spent, doing what you got to do during the day, and then, getting your money at night, man, drop some seeds, grow something. It's been scientifically proven that there are different things in the soil that are stress relieving. There's times where I'll get out into the garden or into the plot or what have you, and I may get in, come into it with a heavy mind or just thinking about a lot of stuff. As soon as I get my hands in the soil, it's just like, okay, all right, now I just kind of just get in the routine. I got to do this, and then you turn around and I don't farm my watch on, so I take my watch out. I tell time by the sun. But you get that feeling like around 3, 4 o'clock. You're like, dang, I've been out here since like 10 o'clock this morning, 9 o'clock this morning, 5 o'clock this morning. I've been out here for 8 hours. Like, you take your little break, you got your music, you know what I mean? You medicate yourself, what have you, and you do what you got to do. And, for me, it just keeps going. And I tell people, it's just that simple. Y'all know me, you know what I mean? Y'all know I ain't know nothing about this. Try it out, and it'll really break down a lot of the apprehension, a lot of the anxiety, I'm not weary of the ways of the world, shout to Solange for that one. But, I see it, I know it. And to be honest with you, like outside of, kind of just getting my routine together with the mask and, sanitizing my hands and things of that nature, hey man, I shut it all the way down. I'm good. I got 10 lifetimes of seeds. I'm all right. Me and my people's gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Silas right around the corner. Hey, Silas, come on around the corner, bro. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. No, that's that reminds me of a book I read earlier this year called The Blue Zones. And Jay, you should really read the book, man, because it's in line with the lifestyle that you're living right now. And it's a book about lifestyle of people who are more likely to live to be 100. And they talk about certain areas, like blue zone areas. One is in California, one is in Italy, one is in Japan, and the other, it's escaping me right now, but there are 4 blue zones they cover, and they interview people in those villages and those tribes. And there are people in those places that, like, it's far more common to have somebody that's 95, 99, 100, 106,
Wow.
not only alive, but like thriving, working every day. And they talk about
Right.
their day-to-day activities, and like what you described of being out at 5 a.m. and looking up at 3 p.m. and like, wow, I've been out here for almost, 10 hours and just working, getting the land together. That is in line with what the lifestyle is of those people. So they talk about lifestyle, the food they consume, their social activities, and they try to build like a formula for what to live well into your 90s, into your 100. So yeah, that's a book I would recommend you look at, because I think you would get a lot of inspiration from it.
For sure, and I appreciate that. I'm the more I'm not a reader. You know what I mean? I've never really been a reader. And I'm not ashamed to say it. The last couple of books that I've read in my life was my 12th grade English assignment. We had to read The Animal Farm. Shout out to my good Hampton University brother, your man, our man, Jerome Baker. He got me to read Tipping Point. Malcolm Gladwell. And outside of that, I haven't read. So it's funny because I've been getting hit a lot with like people, friends, and that are readers. And I think that's a challenge that I want to take on in this off season, to kind of just educate myself or just read a little bit more, because I'm coming into a season, my off season, where I have the opportunity to kind of just, rejuvenate my body, get my mind, my spirit, everything kind of fill back up. You know what I mean? It ain't empty at all. It ain't even a quarter of the way gone. You know what I mean? But just to, like I said, just tool my mind and those things. And so I appreciate that. I definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, man. So for me, reading is something that I am just starting to really commit to in recent years, and even more so in 2020, the second half of 2020. So I'm fairly new to making a commitment to doing it. My reasoning for reading is that I started noticing how easy it is to type something online and to have an argument or debate or just presenting your thoughts online. And you look at how many people each of us follow, and the memes that we see and the threads that we see. And I often think to myself, what caused people to think that way? Are they just typing without any sort of research or any sort of thought? And I just wanted to begin to separate myself, and I wanted to be able to say, my thoughts are based around something that I've consumed, that whoever provided that thing for me to consume, they took their time when they presented their argument, right? So I'm just in search of well-prepared content. So you, Jay, you farm, right? I know if I went and ate at your house, there's a lot of work that was put into that meal. It's not processed. It's not sprayed down with pesticides. I know where it came from, right? I know the work that was put into it. So now I'm looking at reading the same way. This author who put together 400 pages, it probably took them 400 days to make that book. Versus if I go online and scroll all day, you could wake up and yawn and just type 4 or 5, right? And there's no preparation with it. So that was where I was when I decided, you know what, I'm going to spend more time having a well-cooked, quote unquote, piece of content that I'm looking at, versus me scrolling and seeing a bunch of people who are not experts at what they're talking about, unbeknownst to me, influencing me, right? So we talked about the book earlier, Win Bigly, and the filters that we put on ourselves. And a part of those filters come from the fact that we're listening to people that we don't even know where they got their information from.
Come on, say it, man.
That's been a real inspiration for me to read, and it's been a difference maker for me since I began reading, because the reading has changed my conversations. I bring up what I'm reading far more often, not to shame people who don't, but just to say, man, I'm looking at this content and it's really like shifting and molding how I'm thinking. And I just want to share it with people. So I don't do that often when I read a tweet or I see a meme on a gram. It doesn't affect it doesn't help me grow as much as the last 10 or 11 weeks reading these books every week. What that's done for me. So like, that's my piece. If someone were to ask me, why did I suddenly start doing that? I just saw instantaneous change in my thought process and what I'm sharing with people too.
It's like your diet has changed, so to speak. Your mental diet. It's like you're not consuming like junk food. Some memes are funny, but like meme culture is kind of weird because like so when you think about it, it's like where does thought process come from? Is it just to get a reaction? But most times it's just to get like a humorous reaction. Like your diet has changed, and like your mind regimen, your mind fitness and your mind diet has changed. And I think that's important. When you look at your body and mind as like a temple of, like you said, useful versus perfect, you're striving to be useful. So you're doing things that's going to make not only like, to help be useful to you, but to be useful for other people. You're consuming quality information just like one would consume quality food. You're putting discipline on yourself like one would put on a disciplined workout. So yeah, that's very good. I commend anybody for it. Like I look at like your book reviews and I'm like, I'm behind. Like I will say like since smartphones make us read less because some stuff is like at our fingertips. But like quality information is important because like you said, that person took a painstaking time to do it. They ain't wake up and just I feel like posting about some stuff today. Versus someone who had to go into the lab and like be a scientist, trial and error. Like when you, let's say you fail a deadlift, right? You gotta go probably put in some work to make that deadlift strong. You gotta go like work on your weak points. Maybe you gotta work on your core, work on your glutes, work on your hamstrings. Maybe your grip wasn't right, your bracing. All those things are real work variables. So put it in time to do stuff. And like you said, that ultimately comes to what you said about patience. So I think that's a very, very good point you made.
And I found myself this past week. So last week I was supposed to finish this book last week and I didn't. So I'm now into this week. And I felt myself feeling totally different. The 8 or 9 week streak that I had of reading a new book every week, I felt more productive. I felt more in tune with myself. I felt just totally different this past week when I didn't finish the book, right? Yeah. I felt that my mind was not, so normally you guys know I walk every day, right? And on my walks, I'll pull out my phone and do the voice audio, just recording my thoughts. And I noticed I wasn't doing it as much during the week where I didn't read. 2, when I did it, my mindset was not at the level that I wanted it to be. So I really noticed a difference in my wavelength, so to speak. And it's something that you don't notice it until you've seen progress and then you regress. Yeah. That's part of life, I think, that is unfortunate, right? It takes you having your eyes opened and then misusing the time and skills that you have and then realizing how important it was when you were progressing. So the reading thing has definitely been it's been a growth point for me that I really, really appreciate. And now I understand the importance of for me to do that. And for others, it might be different things, but I think it's just important, regardless of what, you find something that continuously pushes you to grow in ways that you can be better for yourself and for people around you too.
Silent. Yeah, like you drink water.
And it's crazy because I just had kind of like a real mind-blowing kind of thing. The time that a lot of people would invest into reading and amending their selves, that's what I do with soil. You know what I mean? Like the more and more time that I spend in the land, enhancing the land, amending it and building it up and that kind of thing, it's the same thing where people are reading books. You know what I mean? So wow, it's kind of crazy to me. It kind of sparked like, wow, yeah, I guess that's kind of how you read books. So adding that arm to your tool chest, you know what I mean, enhance you even, you know, that was excuse me, that was just kind of mind blowing a little bit. I appreciate y'all brothers for doing that, because y'all just kind of put some things in perspective, and it took this conversation to be for me to really to hear from me.
Yeah, man, because I think for me, I am, as you mentioned, Jay, putting away the ego and the importance of that. But I also realize that there are a lot of people that rely on me for information.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
People rely on you for, you know, for food and produce and maintaining and growing their health. I realize that I can't go off the top of the dome when I'm trying to advise people, right? And the way that I add value to myself and in relationships is being able to rely on what I've consumed, what I've sat and read.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody comes to me for, you know, a serious question or a serious direction, I would much rather now be like, hey, I've read these 10 or 12 things.
Yeah.
I'm sharing with you. So again, that's me kind of putting my hand in my soil so that
right.
what grows up out of it is worthwhile for somebody to consume from me. Because what I've learned is that there are people who are not in the positions that the three of us are in, who will come to us, and the closest they'll get to productivity or development is watching our development.
Oh, yeah.
What we share with them will end up being the closest they get. Like, I might read a book and talk to a young guy that's in the streets about that book, and he might not ever pick the book up, but he'll remember what I told him about the book.
Yeah, for sure.
You know
for sure.
I mean?
Yeah,
So
most definitely.
that's been like a part of what I consider to be my responsibility, to continue to develop in that way, to be able to have something on deck out of my pocket to share with them, so to speak, when we're having those conversations, man. So, you know, to me, you know, going full circle in this conversation, you know, Bill, you and I talked years ago about personal development and things you put me on to. And then Jay, you know, when you and I were talking about, you know, what you were doing in the farming space, it started opening my mind up like, wow. Because I remember you telling me about some of the things you were doing, Jay, with from the soil to the table, like inviting people to come down and have dinner with you. Like,
right.
That experience, what that was like too.
Hey man, it was wild, bro. Like, I actually had the opportunity to Airbnb opened up experiences. So I had the opportunity to when I was down in Richmond, open up that thing. So, you know, we had the opportunity. We actually had people that were visiting from Norway. I can't remember. It was some East European country, and it's the first time they ever been in America. Like, they ain't never been in America before. They were avid beer, you know, folks and that kind of thing. And Richmond is actually in the process, and a lot of people are not aware, but Richmond is kind of in the process of going through, like, trying to become the beer capital of the world. Like, forget Germany, you coming to Richmond, Virginia. So these people actually, you know, came to the country. You set it up. It was $45 per person. You charged them. Came, had dinner. My ex actually invited a couple of her folks over. So it just looked like a setting where it was this kind of thing, you know, where it was other people that were taking advantage of the experience or whatever. And these people got the opportunity for the first time they were ever in America to get a real, like, you know, neighborhood experience, you know, without all the ills and that kind of thing. But like, no, you really are having, like, I mean, I ain't gonna size myself and say it was a 5-star, but, you know, 3.5 to 4, you know. But you know, and you know, their mind, you know, you just see a lot of things start to get broken down. Like, you know, they may have an opinion on Black people or people of color or what have you, you know what I mean? And then they say, well, nah, man, we can come over to their house, fellowship with them, and, you know, same kind of vibe, same kind of energy that we would do with my own people. So, you know, it was a beautiful thing. And what I tell people is, that was just in a house in the neighborhood on the south side of Richmond, right off Jeff Davis Highway, you know, full of prostitute motels and, you know, in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I when I heard you mention that, it was eye-opening for me, because I think I couldn't have imagined someone that I know, someone from us, doing something like that, having people you know, Airbnb calls it the experiences, but really having an experience where you go sit at someone's house that has grown all this stuff, and like it's like you call it a 3.5-star experience, but 5-star experience, right? Where
right.
you get a chance to really know where their food comes from. They get a chance to be in a place that is not, if you're not an American, Richmond is not the place that is being touted to you, right? It's New York,
that's right.
LA, you know, but now you're in like Richmond, Virginia, and you're getting this like real quaint experience, man. So when you talked about that to me, I was like, wow, like, and it's funny, right? This is where, going back to reading, this is where reading for me has transformed me. It empowers me to want to do things that I would have been apprehensive about prior to committing to reading. Because when you told me, I was like, yo, that's a great experience. I want to go, but I never pushed go. I had plenty of time to go down and check this out. But now that I'm like read the Blue Zones and read other books about health, it's like, man, like I would do that right now.
Right, for sure.
Therefore, me having that experience of consuming better content, because it's one thing to talk to a friend for like 20, 30 minutes, but what do y'all do when y'all go apart?
Right.
What
do you take from the convo?
Yeah, what do you take from it? But then also, what are you consuming, right? Because like, you know how it is. Like Bill, like you and I, you know, grew up in the same church, right? You go, you hear a good sermon, you know, the preacher warns you against certain things, and then as soon as you get in the car, you're back into those things he warned you against. Right. What do you do when you walk away from what you just heard that was good, right?
Yeah. And
I think, like, to me, all that being said, is really about lifestyle, and I think what the both of you bring to the table when it comes to fitness and farming, it is shaping, or it has the ability, if people buy into it, to shape a different lifestyle for people. So, man, I appreciate the both of you for, you know, making yourselves available to help transform people and to help put people in a better space in terms of who they are and what their lifestyles could potentially be.
Yeah, man.
Most definitely, man. Humbly appreciate it, man. For real, man. You know, and you know, for me, man, like I said, man, it's about you know, by me, you know, transitioning back home in November of 2018, like, you know, it's like it's funny to me because, you know, I'm coming back into town and I'm running into people and they looking at me and I'm completely different, best shape of my life, all kind of stuff, you know what I mean, that kind of thing, and they're like, you know, and then that I tell them like, yeah, you know, I'm a farmer now. I get that feeling like the Joker that's like, yeah, you know, I rap, right? Like I'm a rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, man, I was in the beginning, I got that feeling, you know what I mean? And even meeting new people, you know what I mean? You tell them you're a farmer and they see you, you know what I mean? You know, quote unquote fresh or, you know, however you want to, you know, cut that one down, you know, and they're looking at you like, well, you don't look like a farmer. Well, what I always tell the people is what is a farmer supposed to look like? You know what I mean? I'm just a representation of my elders and my ancestors, and it's just a new spin on it. I'm the 2020, you know, cat out there in the field that doesn't have to do it. It's you know, people will say, well, why you do that slave work? And it boils my blood, man, because it's like the only reason that it's like that is because of the ills of society, or, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? We the original people, you know what I mean? It's not like when, you know, when the transatlantic slave trade happened and, you know, white people brought us to America, we learned how to start eating then. Like, come on, y'all. Like,
right. Like people have been farming since the world began. So, man, you got to think like, and it's kind of wild, like all the skills that are like really, really beneficial are stuff that you're probably exposed to that's natural, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Farming, health like me, or like someone who builds a house, like stuff that you just pick up ends up being the most beneficial things, man. But like, nah, I appreciate it also, Silas, because people are watching this. My first big article was because of Silas. Silas put me on his site, Information.
Nice.
That was the first time I actually talked about myself at length that much, because some people knew, only people who were like really close to me knew what happened with like the cancer and amputation. But that was the first time people like really, really, really knew what had happened in depth. So yeah, like, salute to this whole platform you've built over the years.
Yeah. That's to me, that's what I want to be my value add, man. I want to be able to be a person who can connect people who I think need to connect. And I want to be able to help people grow in ways that they should be growing. I think for all the tribes that I am a member of, I feel like we should be thriving even more than we are right now. But that can only happen if we all are at least open to being in communication with each other. My goal is not for people to become best friends, right? I think at the point that we are in our lives, we've got a set number of people that are going to be very, very close to us, but at least we can be useful to each other, right? So Bill and Jay may see each other in passing, but they know now, because of this mutual connection, I can reach out and let's figure out something that could be beneficial for all of us, right? And then we do that and we get a product and we go and it's a success and that sort of thing, man. So, you know, this whole concept for me has been about growing the tribes, bringing the tribes together, making sure that we're functional and that we're useful, and that we don't have to be uniformed, but, you know, we can operate as organs in a body, right? We have our different functions and we come together as we need to for the sake of everybody, man. So I really, really appreciate the both of you for being on here. And I appreciate the both of you for the work that you've done. And I'm thankful that I was able to bring the two of you together, not just for the benefit of the three of us, but I'm sure that people that will watch this, that will glean from this and be inspired to be fit physically, mentally, and to do more to not just extend their lives, but to heighten the quality of their lives. And you all are living examples of what happens when you decide for yourself who you are and how you want to go about that, man. So Bill and Jay, I really, really appreciate you guys for being on here. And, you know, I don't even know what else to say, but I just really appreciate you guys.
Hey man, like I say, man, it's the same way, bro. Like I said, man, just providing the platform for people to fellowship and for us to just have a fellowship of three that's being recorded and now it goes out to millions and, you know, that kind of thing is a beautiful thing. And, you know, not to get too long-winded about that, but even like in the agricultural space, you'll take a look at like DC. You know, shout out to X Brown over at Soulful. Shout out to Ronnie. Shout out to the good folks over at Dreaming Out Loud. You know what I mean? Like there are a very good, strong tribe of folks that are in the ag space that are moving and different things like that. And, you know, because there's so many different avenues or different things going on and things like that, we may not have the opportunity or the time to be able to fellowship and get together and things like that. You know what I mean? But that's another thing why I'm can't let this opportunity go past without shouting out my brother Levan, man. Like I've known Levan since probably 2005. You know what I mean? On the sneaker stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you know, for us to kind of our relationship to kind of blossom and you know, just transition into what it is now, like. I talk to Levan all day, throughout the day, all day. There ain't no time. Like, I might get a text at 3 o'clock in the morning. I know it's Levan. My phone will go off. I say, there go Levan. There go Levan. There's certain times of the day where I'm like, all right, I just expect, like, all right, cool. Because both of us get into this, you know, nerded out state where we're 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and we on YouTube looking at, like, how to build up soil biology and what can what can you feed your worms to make them, you know, it is just, and so we have that ability to be able to, like you were saying, just fellowship and just share alike back and forth. Yeah. So, you know, that's been a blessing, such a blessing to be able to have that brother in my life in the capacity that I do now. Always been a good, great homie of mine, good guy, man. But now, you know, like I said, to partner up, and then I know that, you know, if I'm kind of working on something, I know I can bounce the idea off him, and it's like, oh, all right, well, try this or try that or try to do it this way. And it's the same thing, like I said, with our fellowship. So, you know, I definitely got to shout that brother out, man.
Yeah, and I gotta have him on here, man. I got a laundry list of people.
I'm sure.
I want to have on. And the funny thing is, there's certain people that I have, like the way I got it in my notes. I've got certain people like together. I gotta have those two together, right?
For sure.
Like all right, I got to figure out who I want to connect them with, but they definitely have to be on here. And Levan is one of them. Just the wide range of skills that he has, man. Like, he's one of those guys I really want to have on.
Hey, man, that's the Southeast MacGyver, man.
Yeah.
That's the Southeast MacGyver, man. I'm telling you, man. If you're trying to figure something out and you ain't 100% on it, you about, you know, whatever, you drop that joint on the back. I know, like I said, that's our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and you know, because he's a very technical, you know, fine line. Like, all right, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. I'm not gonna make no missteps. It's gonna be. He's a perfectionist. You know what I'm saying? Even with planting out and gardening and things like that, you know, people say, well, damn, man, you know, you on the road with Carmen. You know, what you coming back home and gardening for, man? What's you know, you in the mix, you know, kind of thing. But, you know, like I said, man, it's passion work for us. You know what I mean? It's calling work. You know what I mean? So just, you know, like I said, I have to shout that brother out.
Yeah. Shout out to Levan, man. He's done some great work, like you mentioned, on a national, international level. And yeah, he's a person that I think that people in my circles, I would love to introduce him to. So I got to figure that out, who I'm going to make the most value of it, man. But yeah, man, again, I appreciate you all for being on. And it's my hope that this conversation has been great for the three of us, but also for other people watching. And for those who are watching, you know, this is always in my description as an experiment. You know, it takes a lot for you to say, hey, I agree to come on to a Zoom with someone I've never met before, I've probably never seen before, and I don't know how this is going to happen. Somebody's up over there.
You say Pete? Hey, that's my son Jordan.
Yeah.
You want to speak, man?
Hey, what's up, Jordan?
Yeah.
Little Farmer J right here.
That's
hey,
it.
that's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So that's just, you know, this whole thing is about that right there. They can look back years from now and say, my dad, my mom were a part of these sorts of things, man. And we got to really like stand up this tribe, man.
Definitely.
These people, man, that are coming along behind us, these little people that want to be big people.
Yeah.
We got to make a difference so that when they walk through this world, man, they've got a built-in formula for success already. And a lot of that is the fellowship and what comes out of that. So with that, man, I thank you guys, and look forward to seeing more greatness from the both of you. And I'm looking forward to being inspired by the both of you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to meet you, Jay.
Yeah, brother, man. My pleasure, man.
Shout out to Lil Jordan. Good morning.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
All right.
For those, make sure, if you're watching this, make sure you get out there, drink some water today. Do some, do some pull-ups, push-ups, dips, and squats. Get outside, get some good fitness work in. Don't just take what we said and then go to take a nap. You, by watching this, man, you are a man or woman or child. You are tasked with the obligation and the responsibility to be the best you that you can possibly be. Put some good food in your body. As a good brother once told me, man, put that love in your body via water, and get out there, make it happen.
That's it. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching again, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Peace.